John Carter looked out through the small window of his transport ship as it approached the massive alien station. The structure was bigger than anything humans had ever built. It floated in space like a metal city, covered with lights that blinked in patterns he did not understand. This was the Galaxy Council station, and today would change everything for Earth. Carter wore his best diplomatic uniform, the dark blue fabric pressed and clean. At 45 years old, he had spent most of his life preparing for this moment. He was Earth's first ambassador to alien civilizations, chosen because he could speak 7 human languages and learn new ones quickly. The alien language called Galactic Common had taken him 2 years to master from intercepted radio signals. "Sir, we'll be docking in 10 minutes, said the pilot from the front of the ship. Carter nodded and checked his briefcase one more time. Inside were gifts from Earth, a collection of human music, mathematical formulas, and photographs showing life on their home planet. He also carried a small vial of water from the Pacific Ocean and a piece of wood from an ancient oak tree. "Doctor." Lisa Morgan sat across from Carter, reading from her electronic tablet. She was 38 years old and one of Earth's best scientists who studied alien life. Her job was to help Carter understand how the different alien species behaved and thought. She had spent months studying every piece of information Earth had gathered about the Galaxy Council members. "Remember," she said without looking up, "the Vorthak species value strength above all else. Stand tall when you meet them and speak clearly. The Zephyrians are traitors, so they will want to know what Earth can offer them. The Lumenti are energy beings, so they might seem strange, but they are usually fair." Commander Steve Holland checked his sidearm for the 3rd time. At 52, he was older than the other two, with gray hair and scars from battles on Earth. His job was to protect the diplomatic team, though everyone hoped there would be no need for fighting. Earth's leaders had chosen him because he was calm under pressure and understood military tactics. "I still don't like this," Holland said. "We know almost nothing about these aliens. They could be planning anything." Carter smiled. "That's exactly why we're here, Steve. To learn about them, and show them we come in peace." The transport ship shuddered as it connected to the alien station. Carter heard mechanical sounds as the docking systems linked together. His heart beat faster. Everything that happened in the next few days would decide whether Earth joined the Galaxy community or remained alone among the stars. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. Carter stepped through first, followed by his team. The corridor beyond was huge, with ceilings 20 feet high. The walls were made of a smooth metal that seemed to glow with its own light. Strange symbols covered every surface, and the air smelled like ozone after a thunderstorm. A group of aliens waited for them. Carter recognized the species from his studies. The tall one with green scaly skin was a Vorthak. Its yellow eyes watched the humans carefully, and its clawed hands rested near weapons on its belt. Next to it stood a creature that looked like living crystal, its body reflecting the corridor lights in rainbow patterns. This was a Zephyrian. The 3rd alien was harder to see clearly. It appeared to be made of shifting blue energy, sometimes solid and sometimes transparent. This had to be one of the Lumenti. Carter had read that they communicated through electromagnetic fields, but they could also speak if needed. "Welcome, humans," said the Vorthak in heavily accented Galactic Common. "I am Warrior Vextar. The Council waits for you." Carter stepped forward and bowed slightly, as Earth's cultural experts had advised. "Thank you for receiving us. I am Ambassador John Carter, speaking for the people of Earth. We are honored to be here." The crystal being chimed like wind through glass bottles. The sounds somehow formed words in Carter's mind. "I am Trademaster Quilnos of the Zephyrian Commerce Guild. Your species interests us greatly." The energy creature pulsed brighter. When it spoke, its voice sounded like electricity humming through wires. "I am Mediator Luxeron. The Council has prepared chambers for your stay. Come." They walked through corridors filled with amazing sights. Other aliens moved past them, some walking on legs like humans, others floating or sliding along the walls. Carter saw creatures with multiple heads, beings that looked like living plants, and robots that might have been artificial intelligence given physical form. Dr. Morgan whispered excitedly about each new species they encountered. Commander Holland stayed alert, noting security cameras and what might be weapon systems built into the walls. Carter focused on walking with dignity, knowing that every step was being watched and judged. Their quarters were larger than expected, with 3 separate rooms and a common area. The furniture was adjustable, designed to accommodate different alien body types. Windows showed the stars outside and the busy traffic of ships coming and going from the station. The formal meeting begins tomorrow, Vextar told them. The council has prepared questions about your species. Answer truthfully. Lies are always discovered. After the aliens left, Carter's team gathered in the common room. Holland activated a small device that would prevent electronic spying, though he wasn't sure it would work against alien technology. They seem friendly enough, Carter said, but I sense something underneath. They're studying us as much as we're studying them. Dr. Morgan nodded. Did you notice how many different species are represented here? This isn't just a meeting place. It's a seat of power. The Galaxy Council controls more than we thought. Holland frowned. The security here is incredible. Weapon scanners, energy barriers, automated defense systems, they're not taking any chances. Carter walked to the window and looked out at the alien ships. Some were beautiful, flowing like art sculptures through space. Others were clearly military, vessels, bristling with weapons and armor. Earth's single transport ship looked tiny and primitive among them. Tomorrow we make our case, Carter said. We tell them that humanity wants to join the galactic community. We offer friendship, trade, and cooperation. We show them the best of what Earth has to offer. Dr. Morgan joined him at the window. What if they say no? Carter was quiet for a moment. Then we go home and Earth remains alone. But I don't think that will happen. They invited us here for a reason. None of them could sleep well that night. Carter lay in the alien bed staring at the ceiling and thinking about the 6 billion people back on Earth. They were all counting on him to represent humanity well. Tomorrow would bring the most important conversation in human history. Carter woke early on the morning of the big meeting. He had barely slept, his mind racing with thoughts about what would happen. Through his window, he could see alien ships moving like fireflies in the darkness of space. Each one represented a civilization that had already earned its place in the galaxy. Today, Earth would try to join them. Dr. Morgan was already awake, sitting at the table with her tablet and drinking something that tasted like coffee but smelled like flowers. The aliens had provided food that humans could eat, though it was strange and unfamiliar. She looked up as Carter entered the common room. I've been studying the council structure again, she said. There are 12 major species, but the real power belongs to just 4 of them. The Vorthak control the military. The Zephyrians handle trade and economics. The Lumenti serve as judges and mediators. The 4th group, the Kraliks, speak for all the smaller species. Commander Holland emerged from his room, fully dressed in his military uniform, despite Carter's request that they appear as peaceful as possible. Old habits, Holland said when he saw Carter's expression. Besides, they need to know we're not defenseless. At exactly 10 standard galactic hours, Warrior Vextar arrived to escort them to the council chamber. They walked through different corridors than the day before, these ones wider and more decorated. Symbols covered the walls, telling stories of the galaxy's history. Carter saw images of wars, peace treaties, and what looked like the destruction of entire worlds. Those are reminders, Vextar said, noticing Carter's interest. Species that thought they could challenge the council's authority. They no longer exist. The words sent a chill down Carter's spine, but he tried not to show it. This was meant to intimidate him, he realized. The question was why. The council chamber was enormous, shaped like a bowl with seats rising up on all sides. At the center was a platform where Carter and his team would stand. The lighting was dim except for spotlights that would shine down on them during the proceedings. It felt more like a courtroom than a meeting hall. Representatives from dozens of species filled the seats. Carter recognized some from his studies, but many were completely unknown. They all watched silently as the human delegation took their places on the central platform. The weight of their stares was almost physical. A deep sound filled the chamber, like a bell made from metal and thunder. The council session had begun. Chief Arbiter Sektar, a massive Vorthak with scales darker than the others, rose from the highest seat. His voice echoed through the chamber when he spoke. Humans of the world called Earth, you have requested recognition as a civilized species and membership in our council. We have agreed to hear your petition. Speak. Carter stepped forward, his prepared speech ready. He had practiced these words hundreds of times. Honored members of the Galaxy Council, I am John Carter, Ambassador of Earth. I come before you today not to ask for charity, but to offer partnership. He spoke about humanity's achievements, their art, music, and literature, their scientific discoveries and technological progress, their capacity for both war and peace, but their preference for cooperation over conflict. He described Earth as a world of diverse peoples who had learned to work together despite their differences. We offer the galaxy our knowledge, our creativity, and our friendship, Carter concluded. We seek not to conquer or control, but to learn and contribute to the greater community of intelligent life. The chamber was silent when he finished. Then the questions began. A Zephyrian asked about Earth's economic systems and natural resources. Carter answered honestly, describing both Earth's wealth and its limitations. A Lumenti inquired about human social structures and government systems. Carter explained democracy and human rights, concepts that seemed to puzzle some of the listeners. But most of the questions came from the Vorthak and focused on military matters. How many soldiers did Earth have? What weapons had they developed? How fast were their spaceships? Carter tried to answer without revealing too much, but he could see where this was leading. Your species has advanced very quickly, observed Chief Arbiter Sektar. In your historical records, you went from primitive flying machines to faster-than-light communication in less than 200 of your years. This rate of progress is unusual. We are curious and determined, Carter replied. When we encounter a problem, we work together to solve it. Or you fight wars, said another Vorthak. Your history shows constant conflict. Wars between nations, religions, ideologies. Why should we believe you will be peaceful toward other species? Dr. Morgan stepped forward. Because our conflicts taught us the value of peace, we learned from our mistakes. The formation of our United Nations, our space program, our decision to send diplomats instead of warships, all of these show our growth. The questions continued for hours. Carter began to notice a pattern. The aliens were not asking about Earth's culture or scientific achievements. They were gathering military intelligence. They wanted to know humanity's strengths and weaknesses, not as potential partners, but as potential threats. When the session ended, Sektar announced that the council would deliberate. The humans were escorted back to their quarters while the geeky aliens debated Earth's fate. Carter felt exhausted and worried. This had not gone as he had hoped. They're afraid of us, Dr. Morgan said once they were alone. Did you hear those questions? They see our rapid development as a threat. Holland nodded grimly. They're evaluating us as enemies, not allies. The question is what they plan to do about it. For 3 days, the human delegation waited. They were treated well, but clearly watched. Alien guards stood outside their quarters. Their communications with Earth were monitored. They were prisoners in all but name. On the 4th day, Vextar came for them again. This time, only Carter was summoned to the council chamber. Dr. Morgan and Holland were told to remain behind. The chamber felt different now. The lighting was harsher and the alien faces were grim. Carter stood alone on the central platform, feeling very small under the weight of hundreds of stares. Chief Arbiter Sektar rose slowly. When he spoke, his words echoed through the chamber like a death sentence. The Council has reached its decision regarding the species known as humans. We find that your rapid technological advancement, combined with your history of aggressive expansion and warfare, poses an unacceptable risk to galactic stability. Carter's heart sank, but Sektar was not finished. Therefore, the Council hereby declares that humanity must be contained within your home system. Any human vessel found beyond the boundary of your star system will be destroyed without warning. Your long-range communication systems must be dismantled. Your world will be placed under permanent quarantine. This is unjust, Carter protested. We have shown no aggression toward any galactic species. We came here seeking peace. Your intentions matter less than your capabilities, Sektar replied coldly. Should humanity refuse these terms, the Council will authorize a cleansing operation to eliminate the threat permanently. The words hit Carter like a physical blow. They were not being offered membership or partnership. They were being threatened with genocide. You and your companions will remain here as guarantees of your species' compliance, Sektar continued. Your leaders will be given 1 standard galactic month to accept our terms. Carter looked around the chamber, seeking some sign of dissent or sympathy among the alien faces. He found none. The Galaxy Council had made its decision based on fear, not facts. Humanity's crime was not what they had done, but what they might become. As alien guards moved to escort Carter from the chamber, he realized the terrible truth. This had never been about diplomatic recognition. It was a trap, designed to assess humanity's capabilities and deliver an ultimatum from a position of strength. Earth was now at war, whether they knew it or not. Carter sat in his quarters staring at the metal walls. 3 weeks had passed since the Council delivered their ultimatum to Earth. 3 weeks of waiting while his home planet decided humanity's fate. The alien guards brought food and water, but said nothing. Dr. Morgan spent her time studying their captors through the small window. Commander Holland paced like a caged animal. The quantum communication device in their room buzzed with messages from Earth. President Angela Davis herself appeared on the screen, her face tired but determined. Behind her, Carter could see the flags of many nations. The whole world was watching. John, we've received the Council's demands, President Davis said. The United Nations has been in constant session. Every major leader on Earth has been consulted. We cannot accept complete isolation. Humanity will not live in a cage. Carter felt both pride and fear at her words. He knew Earth was making the right choice, but he also knew what it would cost. We're proposing a compromise, the President continued. Limited expansion with Council oversight. Regular inspections of our military. Gradual integration over 50 years. We're willing to accept reasonable restrictions, but not total quarantine. The message ended, and Carter shared a look with his companions. They all knew how the Galaxy Council would respond to anything less than complete surrender. Dr. Morgan had been watching the alien guards more carefully each day. They're getting nervous, she told Carter. More weapons, different patrol patterns. Something has changed in their discussions. Holland nodded. I've been counting ships through the window. Military vessels are arriving every day. They're preparing for something big. Carter tried to maintain hope, but deep down he knew the truth. The Galaxy Council had expected Earth to submit immediately. Humanity's refusal to accept quarantine was being seen as an act of rebellion. In the Council's experience, young species either obeyed completely or faced extinction. On the morning of the 4th week, Warrior Vextar entered their quarters with a full squad of armed guards. His yellow eyes held no emotion as he looked at the 3 humans. Ambassador Carter, you will come with us, Vextar said. Your companions will remain here. Dr. Morgan grabbed Carter's arm. Don't go, John. This isn't right. Carter gently removed her hand. I have to. I'm Earth's representative. Whatever happens, remember that humanity will not bow to tyranny. Holland stepped forward. Take me instead. I'm the military officer. I should be the one. The Council has requested the ambassador, Vextar replied coldly. You will come now or we will take you by force. Carter walked out of the room with dignity, his head held high. Behind him he could hear Dr. Morgan calling his name, but he did not look back. He knew he would never see his friends again. The Council chamber had been transformed. The seats were packed with representatives from every species in the galaxy. Cameras and recording devices filled every corner. This was not a trial or negotiation. This was a public execution designed to send a message to the entire galaxy. Chief Arbiter Sektar stood at the center of the chamber, his massive form casting shadows across the floor. Around him, The other council leaders watched with cold satisfaction. They had made their decision, and nothing Carter could say would change it. Humans of Earth. Sektar's voice boomed through speakers that carried his words across the galaxy. Your species has rejected the Council's generous offer of containment. You have chosen defiance over wisdom. Therefore, the Council declares humanity to be a rogue species without protection under galactic law. Carter stood alone on the central platform, surrounded by thousands of hostile alien faces. He thought of Earth, of the billions of people who would watch this broadcast. He thought of his wife and children who believed he was coming home. He thought of all the dreams humanity had for the stars. Ambassador John Carter. Sektar continued. You will die as an example to your species. Your death will serve as Earth's final warning. Submit to quarantine, or face total extermination. The method they had chosen was particularly cruel. A device that would disrupt his cellular structure, causing slow and agonizing death while leaving his body intact for display. The aliens wanted Earth to see exactly what happened to those who defied the Galaxy Council. Carter was given one last chance to speak. He stepped forward, knowing that his words would be carried to Earth and every world in the galaxy. His voice was steady and strong. I am John Carter of Earth, and I speak for all humanity. We came to you in peace, offering friendship and cooperation. You have answered with threats and murder. You call us dangerous, but look at yourselves. You are the ones who choose violence over diplomacy. The chamber erupted in angry sounds from dozens of different species, but Carter continued. You fear us because we grow and change and reach for something better. You fear us because we refuse to accept that things must always stay the same. You fear us because deep down, you know that we represent the future, and you represent the past. Sektar raised his hand for silence. Enough, you die now as a lesson to your species. The execution device activated. Pain shot through Carter's body as his cells began to break down, but he did not scream or beg for mercy. Instead, he used his final breath to deliver one last message to Earth. Remember me. Remember why I died. And when they come for you, show them what humans are really made of. The device completed its work. John Carter, Earth's first ambassador to the stars, died standing upright with his eyes open and his dignity intact. His death was broadcast live across the galaxy as a demonstration of council power. But the aliens had made a terrible mistake. They thought Carter's execution would terrify Earth into submission. Instead, it would ignite a fury that would reshape the galaxy. On Earth, billions of people watched their representative die with courage and honor. President Davis stood before the cameras with tears in her eyes and steel in her voice. John Carter died defending human freedom, she said. His sacrifice will not be in vain. As of this moment, I am activating Protocol Omega. Humanity will not submit. Humanity will not surrender. And humanity will have justice. The broadcast from Earth ended, but across the galaxy, other species had been watching too. Some felt sympathy for the humans. Others wondered if the Council had gone too far. A few began to question whether the Galaxy Council truly represented justice and order, or simply the tyranny of the strong over the weak. In his final moments, Carter had planted seeds of doubt that would grow into rebellion. The Galaxy Council had intended to make an example of humanity. Instead, they had created martyrs and given their enemies a cause worth dying for. The war for humanity's survival was about to begin, and it would be fought in the name of a man who died standing up for the right of his species to reach for the HFY stars. John Carter's execution had not ended the human threat. It had transformed it into something far more dangerous than the Council could have imagined. Earth was no longer seeking membership in the galactic community. Earth was preparing to take it by force. The news of Carter's death reached Earth 12 hours after the execution. President Angela Davis watched the broadcast alone in the Oval Office, her hands clenched into fists as she saw humanity's first ambassador die with dignity. When the HFY transmission ended, she sat in silence for several minutes, then reached for a red telephone that connected directly to military leaders around the world. This is President Davis, she said when the secure line opened. Protocol Omega is now active. I repeat, Protocol Omega is active. God help us all. Within hours, emergency meetings began in capitals across Earth. In Washington, London, Moscow, Beijing, New Delhi, and dozens of other cities, world leaders gathered to discuss humanity's response. The video of Carter's execution played on every news channel, and angry crowds filled the streets demanding justice. General Patricia Hayes arrived at the Pentagon 30 minutes after the Protocol Omega alert. At 53 years old, she was the youngest person ever to hold her rank, chosen for her brilliant tactical mind and her ability to think beyond traditional warfare. She had worked with Carter during the mission planning and knew exactly what humanity was facing. "How long do we have?" President Davis asked when Hayes entered the Situation Room. "Based on the fleet movements we've detected, maybe 6 months before they arrive," Hayes replied. "The Galaxy Council thinks they're dealing with a primitive species. They're going to move slowly and expect us to surrender when we see their ships." "They're wrong," Davis said coldly. "Activate the Forge Directive. Every factory, every laboratory, every university is now part of our military effort. We're going to show these aliens what humans can do when they're pushed too far." The Forge Directive was humanity's most extreme industrial mobilization plan. Within days, car factories began producing weapon components. Computer companies switched to building military targeting systems. Universities canceled regular classes and focused entirely on weapons research. Even children's toy manufacturers began making parts for military equipment. Dr. Alan Brooks emerged from his secret laboratory in Nevada with plans that had been hidden for over a decade. Project Prometheus contained weapon designs that violated every treaty Earth had ever signed about warfare. The plans included kinetic bombardment systems that could destroy cities from orbit, artificial intelligence programs that could pilot ships without human crews, and most dangerous of all, quantum weapons that could attack targets across vast distances instantly. "These designs are based on theoretical physics that we barely understand," Brooks warned the assembled military leaders. "Some of these weapons could destroy us as easily as our enemies." General Hayes studied the blueprints with cold calculation. "Can they be built?" "Yes, but the risks are enormous, the quantum entanglement weapons especially. We're talking about manipulating the basic structure of space and time." "The aliens just murdered our ambassador on live television," Hayes replied. "Risk is something we'll have to accept." Construction began immediately. Earth's orbital space transformed into a massive shipyard. The moon's surface became covered with weapon installations and manufacturing facilities. Mining operations in the asteroid belt expanded to provide raw materials for the war effort. Humanity worked with desperate urgency, knowing that time was running out. The most secret project took place deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock to build something called the Nemesis Array. The technology combined quantum computing with exotic matter that existed only in laboratory conditions. Even the people building it did not fully understand how it worked. "It's like trying to harness lightning," explained Dr. Sarah Kim, the project's chief scientist. "We know it has incredible power, but controlling it is nearly impossible. One mistake could tear a hole in space itself." General Hayes approved the project anyway. "If we're going to die, we might as well take them with us." Around the world, ordinary people supported the military buildup with determination that surprised even their leaders. Farmers donated crops to feed workers in the factories. Teachers volunteered to work in weapons plants during their spare time. Retired soldiers came back to help train new recruits. Children collected scrap metal for the war effort. The transformation was not just industrial, but psychological. Humanity had been forced to abandon their dreams of peaceful exploration among the stars. Instead, they prepared for a war that would determine whether their species would survive or be exterminated like so many others. 2 years after Carter's death, Earth's defenses were ready. The planet now had 60 warships, each one incorporating technology that pushed the boundaries of known science. The ships were smaller than alien vessels but faster and more maneuverable. Their armor could adapt to different types of weapons, and their engines could make short, faster-than-light jumps during battle. Admiral Lisa Chen commanded the fleet from her flagship, the UES Vengeance. At 41 years old, she had risen through the ranks by winning every simulation and test the military could devise. She understood that humanity's only advantage was surprise. The aliens expected primitive resistance. they would get something far more dangerous. Remember, Chen told her captains during their final briefing, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every species that the Galaxy Council has threatened or destroyed. We're fighting for the right to exist as free beings in this universe. The defensive network around Earth included more than just ships. Orbital platforms bristled with weapons that could target multiple enemies simultaneously. Hidden bases on asteroids provided backup firepower. Most importantly, the Nemesis array waited beneath the ocean, ready to unleash forces that could destroy entire solar systems. President Davis, now in her third term due to emergency powers, addressed the world one final time before the expected invasion. My fellow humans, she said, standing before the flags of every nation on Earth. John Carter died because he refused to let our species live in a cage. He died because he believed that humans deserve to reach for the stars. Tomorrow, alien ships will come to destroy us. They think we are weak and divided. They are about to learn how wrong they are. The speech was broadcast not just to Earth, but across the galaxy, carried by the same quantum communication systems the aliens used. Every species in the Galaxy Council heard humanity's defiance. We did not choose this war, Davis continued, but we will finish it. And when we do, the galaxy will know that humanity cannot be conquered, cannot be caged, and will never surrender our freedom to tyrants. As the president spoke, long-range sensors detected the approaching Council fleet. 300 warships, armed with planet-killing weapons, dropped out of hyperspace near the edge of the solar system. They moved slowly toward Earth, confident in their overwhelming superiority. Admiral Chen watched the enemy ships on her command screens. She thought of Carter's final words, of the billions of people counting on her, of the future of human civilization hanging in the balance. Then she activated the fleet's communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Chen. The enemy has arrived. Remember our training. Remember our purpose. Remember that we fight not just for victory, but for the right of humanity to exist. Today we show the galaxy what humans are really made of. The Battle of Sol was about to begin. Earth's children were ready to meet their enemies with weapons that violated the laws of physics and a determination that could move mountains. The Galaxy Council had created this war by murdering an innocent diplomat. Now they would face the consequences of awakening humanity's terrible wrath. The Galaxy Council fleet arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system like a swarm of metal locusts. 300 warships, each one larger than anything humans had ever built, moved in perfect formation toward the small blue planet that had dared to defy them. Admiral Thekvor, a battle-scarred Vorthak, commanded the fleet from his massive flagship. He expected this to be a simple extermination mission. Target analysis complete, reported his tactical officer. The humans have approximately 60 small vessels, primitive weapons, no significant orbital defenses detected. Thekvor's lipless mouth curved into what might have been a smile. As expected, these creatures learned nothing from their ambassador's death. Prepare planet-killing weapons. We will make this quick. But the Council fleet had been deceived. Earth ships were hidden among the asteroids using stealth technology reverse-engineered from captured alien probes. The orbital weapons platforms were disguised as space debris. Most importantly, the aliens had no idea about the Nemesis array, waiting beneath Earth's ocean. Admiral Chen watched the enemy approach from her command center on the UES Vengeance. Her 60 ships were outnumbered 5-1, but she had advantages the aliens could not imagine. Human weapons had been designed by people who thought differently than any other species in the galaxy. All units maintain stealth protocols, Chen ordered. Let them get closer. We want them to think we're helpless. The Council fleet moved past Pluto, then Neptune, then Jupiter. Thekvor grew more confident with each passing hour. The humans showed no signs of resistance. Perhaps they had finally realized the futility of opposing the Galaxy Council. When the alien ships reached Mars, Chen gave the order that would change galactic history forever. All units, activate and engage. Show them what humans can do. The space around Mars erupted in violence. Human ships materialized from their hiding places and opened fire with weapons that should not have existed. Energy beams that bent around corners struck alien vessels from impossible angles. Missiles that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously bypassed every known type of shield technology. The first wave of alien ships disintegrated before they could return fire. The survivors found themselves fighting an enemy that followed no rules they understood. Human ships moved like living things, coordinating through quantum-encrypted communications that could not be jammed or intercepted. "What are these weapons?" Tekfor roared as his tactical displays showed impossible readings. "Energy signatures off all known scales. Our shields are useless." But the real surprise came when damaged alien ships began to disappear. Specialized human vessels designed for rapid salvage operations stripped useful technology from wrecks in real time. Within minutes, some human ships were firing captured alien weapons alongside their own impossible arsenals. The battle raged across the solar system. Human ships fought like pack hunters, using hit-and-run tactics that confused the larger alien formations. When Council vessels tried to group together for mutual protection, human weapons punched through their combined shields as if they were paper. Admiral Chen watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. The aliens were learning that technological superiority meant nothing when your enemy refused to follow the rules. But she knew this was only the beginning. "Signal Earth," she ordered. "Tell them to activate the Nemesis array. It's time to end this war." Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Sarah Kim received the activation order she had hoped never to hear. The Nemesis array represented the most dangerous technology humanity had ever created. It could destroy targets across impossible distances, but using it might tear holes in space itself. "All personnel evacuate to minimum safe distance," Kim announced. "God help us, we're actually going to do this." The array powered up with a sound like reality tearing. Exotic matter that existed only in laboratory conditions was forced into configurations that violated several laws of physics. Energy readings climbed beyond anything ever recorded on Earth. In space, the Council fleet was beginning to regroup despite their losses. Tekfor had finally accepted that these humans were far more dangerous than anyone had believed. He prepared to order a retreat when every ship in his fleet received the same impossible message. The transmission came from Earth, but it was not directed at the Council fleet. Instead, it targeted the home worlds of every species in the galaxy. Council simultaneously. The message was simple and terrifying. "This is Earth. You have one chance to surrender. Withdraw your fleet immediately or watch your homeworlds die." Tekfor laughed at human arrogance. "Impossible. They cannot reach our worlds from here. The distances are too great." That was when the Nemesis array fired. The weapon did not send projectiles or energy beams across space. Instead, it manipulated the quantum connections that existed between all matter in the universe. Time itself became a weapon, selectively accelerating the aging process of anything the array targeted. 12 different worlds spanning thousands of light years, the effect was the same. The alien populations began to age at an exponential rate. Years passed in hours, centuries compressed into days. Ancient civilizations watched their people grow old and die while their planets remained completely unharmed. The Council leaders, safe in their fleet near Mars, received panicked communications from their homeworlds. Billions of their people were dying of old age while they watched helplessly. Cities stood empty. Technology remained functional. Only the organic life was affected. "This is impossible," Tekfor whispered as he watched his own species die on the view screen. "No weapon can do this." Admiral Chen appeared on the main communication channel, her face visible to every ship in the Council fleet. "You wanted to exterminate humanity. Instead, you have destroyed yourselves. Surrender now, and we will stop the aging effect. Refuse, and watch your civilizations die." The surrender came within minutes. Proud species that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years begged for mercy from the primitive humans they had tried to destroy. One by one, the Council leaders transmitted their complete and unconditional surrender. President Davis appeared, on screens throughout the fleet, broadcasting from the White House. "The Galaxy Council is hereby dissolved. All member species will submit to Terra Command for reorganization. Any world that refuses integration will face the same fate as your home worlds. The war was over. Humanity had not just survived the icy, attempted extermination. They had become the galaxy's new rulers. The species that had murdered John Carter now served at human discretion. Dr. Morgan and Commander Holland, finally released from their captivity on the Council Station, were among the first to witness the new galactic order. The station that had once housed humanity's enemies now flew Earth's flag. Alien servants hurried to fulfill human commands. John would have been proud, Morgan said as she watched human administrators take control of galactic trade networks. Holland nodded. He died believing in human dignity. Now the whole galaxy knows what that means. Years later, schools on 100 worlds taught children about the Carter Doctrine, the principle that no species had the right to cage another. The ambassador's execution had been intended to terrify humanity into submission. Instead, it had forged them into the galaxy's conscience in its iron fist. The Galaxy Council's greatest fear had been realized. Humanity's rapid advancement was not an anomaly, but a preview of their true potential when threatened with extinction. They had not just reached for the stars, they had claimed them through courage, ingenuity, and an absolute refusal to accept tyranny. John Carter's sacrifice had not been in vain. The galaxy would never again see the extinction of a species for the crime of growing too quickly. Humanity would make sure of that.